petrolheads, and welcome to a new chapter of... You know what? Let's start a new playlist about Assetto Corsa Competizione, because this sim is gonna be with us for a while, and knowing Kunos, I expect it to be a long while. So, welcome to a new chapter of, let's call it Assetto Corsa Competizione. Today, Kunos published the new release from Assetto Corsa Competizione, the release 2, still in early access, with one of my favorite GT cars of all time, the Bentley Continental, and with the track Misano World Circuit. I tested a mod for the Misano track for Assetto Corsa, and hopefully I still remember the track. I do remember that it was a pain to learn, but I am looking forward to check the Misano track on Assetto Corsa Competizione. Other things that come with this release: the very much expected VR support, at least very much expected by people like me who have VR and who love to race with VR. Super pole, basic pit stop, performance rating, safety rating. I will concentrate in checking the VR support, but I do hope that it's easy, and I do hope that everything can be seen through VR like it is with race room racing experience. I'm gonna enjoy the Bentley. I'm gonna drive the Bentley at Misano, of course, but also at Nürburgring. While it is not in the roadmap, I hope that Kunos have done a lot of work into getting the force feedback better than it was in the first release. I should stop talking and start racing. Bentley, here I come, my love.
I'm seeing the menu. I know that you're not seeing it. And I'm seeing this, well, quite small person, but I am quite big. Thing is, this menu here does not react to the controllers, does not react to the mouse, does not react to the wheel. I don't know what I'm missing here. I'll start checking the car without VR, and maybe while I'm doing this, other people are gonna find out how to use the VR.
Force feedback still feels nowhere. I'll have to check the force feedback menu. According to the list of changes, they've done a lot with the force feedback. As was to be expected, the Bentley feels like it has more momentum, more weight. Which I suppose it does. Oh yeah, my sweet Bentley. At last, you're mine, all mine. Yeah, it's... it's heavier. I have to brake sooner. And harder. And at the same time see to it that I keep the car under control. Pity that I don't feel it in the force feedback. But I like that this car behaves differently than the Lamborghini. Yeah, I know, as it should be and as I should expect, but still. So, from that side, I'm quite happy with it. Interesting, while the Lamborghini kept straight when I was braking, the Bentley moves a little bit to the side. Assetto Corsa Competizione still doesn't remember my times done in other moments when I was using the sim. I really have to learn how to brake. Or maybe it's a thing that I can do in the setup. I'll have to take a look. But I'm not exactly the king of setups. The Bentley on R Factor 2 is more stable. And I don't remember how it is with race room racing experience. But this car is as much fun to drive as in the other simulations. Which means a lot. By the way, did I comment last time about the sound design? It isn't as complete, in my opinion, as the one from Race Room Racing Experience, where you hear all sorts of noises. But it's quite good. I like that you get a lot of the noises that you hear inside of one of these cars. But some noises, like from the gearing, you don't hear that much, or from the turbo. It's interesting that the statistics of my driving show me that I'm not driving as well with a Bentley as I did with the Lamborghini. Which is a pity, as you know, I like the Bentley more than the Lamborghini. Goes to show what we love hurts the most. Not having the feeling of force feedback is unnerving. I have to rely mostly on visual clues, and I don't like to do that because I wouldn't do that on a real car. Well, I don't do that when I drive. Oh, looks different. Me Laika. As always, and as it was to be expected, it's a different driving. From daylight. Because everything is gray. Oh, I love this twilight. Looks very good. And I like that it ranks up the difficulty in driving here. Oh, I see light emanating from my car. I know that they changed that in a bug fix just after releasing the first version. I like how you have to relearn the track on night racing. Because many of your visual cues are not there.
Through a posting of Okunos in the forum, I found out that what you have to do is first in the options, let me show you where the options are. Options, control, under user interface, you have to set up all these buttons, forward, backward, up, down, left, right, cycle, blah, 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 to your wheel. And then you can use your wheel to control the menus in VR. Not my favorite solution, but that's what Kunos has decided. I hope they change that. The way they've set up the menus, the HUD in VR, you have to sit quite far away. So see, all these menus are too near, so you have to go further away from the wheel. Not my favorite position. On the other hand, while you're racing, you don't really care about these things, but still they always help a little bit. The VR isn't as crisp as with Assetto Corsa, Race Room Racing Experience and all those. Oh, yeah, this car. It's not as light as a feather. It's got much more momentum, and you notice it while braking or taking a curve. You have to brake a little bit sooner and harder, and you have to convince it to get into the curve. And when I brake very sharply, it tends to lose a little bit of control. The picture, the quality of the images are not what I'm accustomed from Assetto Corsa, Race from Racing Experience or R Factor 2. But hey, it's VR, it's working, it's fun and it's exhilarating to drive this car through new terrain and being able to use VR. Every time I brake with a Bentley, I have to be very careful because the car wants to brake out. Maybe it's something I can correct in the setup, but I haven't looked at the setup at the moment. The wipers are making me dizzy. I don't know if I said it in the first video that I did about Assetto Corsa Competizione. Don't remember right now. But I like that at least on heavy rain, you get these puddles and you lose grip for a millisecond because on one of these small puddles, the car does some aquaplaning. So on medium, I don't have that aquaplaning, but it sounds logical. As the wets or intermediates, whatever I have on, should be able to move to displace as much water as is falling, contrary to when it pours. Let's see how well I remember Misano from my test of the Assetto Corsa mod. Somehow the Misano from Kunos, from Assetto Corsa Competizione, is more colorful than the Assetto Corsa mod. By which I'm not dissing the mod. I love the mod and I still like it a lot. It's just that this year has more color. By the way, a couple of weeks after I published the Misano mod for Assetto Corsa, the DTM went and did a night race, or more specifically 2 night races at Misano, which were spectacular. Trying to convince this monster to take the 15 turns of Misano the way you want it, it's a challenge. Another thing that the Bentley does differently from the Lamborghini is that when you lift your foot off the throttle, the motor starts braking. You have to take that into consideration when you brake or when you go off the throttle. It's not as bad as the crossbow, where you could easily get lift off or lift throttle oversteer, but still it's noticeable. And as I said, something to take into consideration. Oh, I like how, see the panel and see the reflection? I like how it's reflected. So that's how much the DTM people were able to see in their night races. Yeah. funny how different a track can look at night. The light effects are enormous. Things blinking. You get below a spot, it's better to see. Well done. I'm pretty sure as soon as multiplayer starts, a lot of the racers are gonna start having night races and night races with rain. I like how you see the cone of light from your headlights. See the cone of light? Nice. Okay, so when I move my head, it's jittery. The image is jittery on VR. Maybe it isn't, or I suppose it isn't on the video. Wait a minute. The Lamborghini has no rear view mirror. And no camera either. Whoops. Okay. This car feels much more lightweight than the Bentley. I don't have to brake as hard. I don't have to turn as hard. So let me see while I'm still driving the Lamborghini on this track if I can give you the short version of my opinion of this release 2 of Assetto Corsa Competizione. First of all, VR works! Yippee! It's fun. It's exhilarating, but the graphic resolution on VR isn't yet where Assetto Corsa was. Kunos has to take a little bit of time to get it right. That said, please remember this is an early release. This is released to the public so that we all can give our opinion. And we're talking about Kunos, who in the 4 years since the first release of Assetto Corsa until they closed shop with Assetto Corsa in 2018, bettered their sim to a level that has set standards for others. One thing that I hope Kunos changes or adds, or however you want to call it, is this using the wheel as the only controller for the menus when you're on VR. I understand the logic, and it's not a bad logic, but I would say whoever wants to use his or her wheel to control the menus should be able to do so, but other people, like me, who may want to use a mouse, should be able to do so too. I hope that Kunos adds other ways of controlling the menus when you're in VR. The Bentley. Oh my god, the Bentley. I love that car. And I think the implementation that Kunos has done of the Bentley is fantastic. You feel the way of this car, you feel the momentum that way gives it. You feel how Bentley have had to tweak the car so that you can race it. And it's great moving it through Nürburgring or through Misano. And we come to the next point, Misano. What a wonderful. I was able to remember it. Hallelujah. I think that Kunos have made a great job with Misano. You can feel the track quite well, and it's more colorful and has more variety than the Assetto Corsa mod. Of course, they're Kunos. They pay people to do nothing else but Misano, as near to reality as possible. Talking to near to reality, force feedback is still bothering me. It's not good. I hope that Kunos is gonna take some time and some thinking into the force feedback, because, truth to be told, cars were not speaking to me through force feedback, the tracks were not speaking to me through force feedback. Force feedback is something where Kunos should put somebody on it to have it ready. That said, clearly this release 2 is a step forward as was planned, not only because now we have 2 cars and 2 tracks, but also because VR is good enough to be able to race with it, good enough to have fun with it, and in some moments driving the Bentley or the Lamborghini, it really felt fantastic. It felt almost like real life. So, release 2, there's a lot of things that Kunos has to make better. Force feedback, the controls on VR, the quality of the graphics on VR, but it's a step forward. So if you haven't bought this sim yet, do so, especially if you're a VR fan like I am, because with the next release, the price is going up, I think, by 10 euro or US dollars. You like to race? You like racing sims? You like VR? There's no question. Get your wallet out, get your credit card out, and sprinkle Kunos with the 20-something euro that this sim costs you at the moment on Steam. That would be all for today. If you like this video, please be so kind and leave a like. If you want to see more of our videos, and we're publishing at least 2 videos a week, subscribe and don't forget to click the bell. And until next time, save fuel, take pickup, and we'll see you. Podium!
Visit drumroll.net to connect to fellow sim racers and sim